Hello everyone, and welcome to my Hardcore Druid guide. In this guide, I'll talk about the different talent trees I use when I level up, tips and tricks, the best profession and race you can choose, macros, and a lot of other things. One thing that still kills many druids in Hardcore is that they're getting slowed or rooted or even dazed. But did you know you can remove root and slow effects simply just by reapplying a new form? I know this footage is from PvP, but it's the exact same as if you were fighting an NPC that, for example, cast a net at you or use a frostbolt to slow you. Whenever I get to low health, and if my mana is also low, then what I usually do is just to root the enemy. And then I use a bandage to heal myself. Because yeah, even though you have healing spells, then first aid is still amazing. And when you use first aid, you also regen mana at the same time. So after finishing your bandage, you might also have enough mana to cast a new root. Then you can just repeat this until you get enough mana to go back into cat form. Talking about low mana. As a feral druid, or well any druid, it's always amazing to have an item with a lot of spirit. So when you get to low mana, you equip this item, and on top of this, you can also benefit a lot if you do this combination together with Innovate. The next trick is for those of you that will be playing a Night Elf. If you're going to heal in a dungeon, or if you're going to level with another person, then you can heal this target, drink, and then use your Shadow Melt. This is of course before any of you go into combat. This way the target can now start tanking, and you will be healing it without doing any threat. Super useful, especially in dungeons and raids. One spell that is quite underrated as a druid is Soothe Animal. This spell allows you to increase the pull range by 10 yards. Super useful if you need to go into a certain location and pick up a quest item, or for example an herb. This way there's a way higher chance that you won't pull the nearby enemy. I also find this extremely useful when there's a nearby patrol in a dungeon, or for example an enemy that we wouldn't like to pull. As a druid, it's amazing when you unlock your cat form, and especially also your prow and also your pouch. But this combination will require you many different keybinds or well key presses. But what if I told you there's a macro you can set up? This will allow you to instantly turn into cat form and also use your prowl. And if you continue to spam it, it will also use your pounce. So this is how the macro looks like. If you just wish to go into cat form and use your prowl, then you just need the two first lines. And yes, you will be able to spam this macro even when you're in stealth or in cat form. It will not cast a new form, and it will not break your stealth effect, or well, your prowl. Another macro I find mandatory to use as a feral druid is a macro that instantly turns you into bear form and also use your feral charge. So amazing when you're at low health, and if you would like to get away, then you just charge another nearby target and you start running away in your cat form or travel form. But yeah, this will require you to play as a feral druid, else you won't have feral charge. So this is how the macro looks like. And for those of you without dire bear form, well then you can just replace this with your normal bear form. When you're a low level druid, you will not instantly restore rage to use your feral charge. But then you could always just use your enrage ability to get a bit of rage so you can use a feral charge. Another useful option is to spend 5 points into this talent in the Resto tree. This allows you to instantly restore rage when you go into bear form. So in a moment, I'll show you the different talent trees that I like to use when I level up a druid in Hardcore. But before I show you these talent trees, then there's also 2 talent points that I felt like was so important to highlight in the video. It is to spend 2 points into Feline Swiftness. This will increase your movement speed in cat form, and you can unlock this at level 20 and 21, allowing the druid to easily travel around in the world a lot faster. Therefore, I also highly recommend people to level up as a feral druid. So this is how my feral druid cat form build usually looks like. For those of you that would also like to tank in dungeons, then you could always swap these talent points so you get even more armor. And if you're wondering at what level I pick each talent, then you can see it right here from level 10 and all the way up to 60. In official classic Hardcore, there's going to be a 24 hours penalty in dungeons, allowing you only to do one of the same dungeon every 24 hours. Therefore, it will not be that useful to either level up as a tank or a healer. You could try to level up as a balanced druid, but to be honest, then I feel like Feral is so much faster and safer. However, if you still plan to level up as a balanced druid, then your talent tree could look like this. As a balanced druid, you will be leveling a lot slower between level 10 to 40, at least before you get your Moonkin form. So at level 40, it could be a good decision as a feral druid to maybe swap into balance, but this will only be useful if you have gathered items that grant you intellect, spirit, but also spell damage. So what professions would I choose as a druid? Well, there's two different combinations I like to use. It's going to be leatherworking and skinning, so you can farm gold with skinning, but also for you to make different items with leatherworking. These crafted items will benefit your leveling, and the profession will also still be useful at level 60 when you need to craft different rare or maybe even epic items. The other option would be to pick up engineering and mining, so you can craft different engineering goggles, bombs, but also the target dummy. This is a thing you can spawn, and it will taunt all nearby enemies. So if you make a big mistake and you need to get away as fast as possible, then you can spawn the target dummy. This item will save you so many different times. And remember, as a cat, you also have 9 lives. Therefore, mining and engineering is also the professions I will choose as a hardcore druid. So what is the best race you can choose? Well, as an alliance and as a horde player, there's only going to be one option, either to play as a tauren or a night elf. So what it all comes down to is what faction you prefer to play, or if you're going to play with some friends that will either play as alliance or horde. One thing you should definitely start considering is what talent build you would like to follow, so you don't end up spending a lot of gold respeccing. Because having a lot of gold will be important so you can purchase your mount. An easy way to save a lot of gold is to make sure you don't purchase all your spells. So whenever you can upgrade to a new rank, then sometimes it might not be useful. A quick example is Hurricane. So if you level as a feral druid, you won't really benefit that much from the spell. I would train rank 1, but rank 2 and 3 is pretty much pointless. I would wait with these till I reach level 60. This is the exact same with Wrath and Starfire. In fact, I would not even train these ranks, because I believe they won't really benefit my leveling when I will just be in cat form. Of course, if I was going to level as a balanced druid, then I would train these. In hardcore, you won't be able to resurrect other players. You will be able to resurrect their pets, so rebirth is not really something you would benefit much from. Therefore, I would also skip this spell. So yeah, this is also about it for this guide. If you would like to see my other hardcore class guides, leveling tips and tricks, gold making and other useful things in hardcore, then make sure to check out the channel. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!